BoyleSports World Grand Prix on Sky Sports.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Fallout Bar. We are back because BDC Major Darts are back. That's right, we're going to be here every single night this week, reviewing all of the action as it happens. And tonight, joined by Lee Boyce and Charlie Hopper, and in a couple of minutes, we will have Sarah Kinsella from BoyleSports jumping on as well to give us their perspective from the evening. Gents, thank you very much for joining me. How are we?
Yeah, I'm all good.
Yeah, really good, thank you.
Lee, you've been on the blog all night. How's that been?
Yeah, it's been good. I'm just excited all day that the Fallout Bar's back. The only difference is I'm not sat in Blackpool this time, which is a bit disappointing.
You're probably better off not sat in Blackpool, to be fair. Let's not say that to everybody that's from Blackpool, shall we? Because we might get lynched a little bit. We're not in Blackpool. We're not in Dublin for a change. We are in Leicester. Well, we're all at home, obviously, but the Grand Prix has been at Leicester. Hello to everybody in the chat room as well. And just like that, we are joined by Sarah from BoyleSports. Sarah, very good evening to you. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks very much for having me. Great night of darting action. Wasn't it? Like, I really enjoyed it. Now it's great to actually have it started. We look forward to it so much, but night one over, done and dusted. It's hard to believe it's just like that. So looking forward to the action now tomorrow.
Yeah, it absolutely flies past. I bet you're in the venue, aren't you? You're actually in the morning side. How different is it being there instead of the City West in Dublin?
Yeah, so and I missed out last year as well. I didn't come over. I was at the Grand Slam last year, but obviously City West the year before. It was electric. Like, it's just the Irish just know how to party, don't they? It's just no
bias there whatsoever from you, Sarah. That's all, is there? That's not at all.
It's brilliant. Like, the pictures of beer were flying out the cities. But look, it was brilliant atmosphere here tonight as well, of course. And it's great to see life getting back to some sort of normality. Do you know what I mean? In Ireland now, it's still a bit strict. So for me coming over here, I don't have to wear masks or anything. So I don't know myself, to be honest. It's great. So look, just delighted to be here. But yeah, the atmosphere just, obviously last year with no crowds, it's just so bleak. You know, it goes for every sport. So fans mean a hell of a lot to sport. We really are lost without them, so it's good to have them back.
Yeah, and from a spectator view, the venue looks fantastic. I thought it looks like it's made to host PDC darts. We've seen a few events there before the Champions League, I think it was, once upon a time. Obviously, you are from BoyleSports, so we're going to get the BoyleSports lowdown before we go on to reviewing all of the action tonight. So anything stand out for you tonight? Did a certain defending champion's performance affect anything in the market?
It certainly did. We have loads of market movers. I had to write them down. There were so many of them. So I'll just go through the obvious ones that played tonight, but the others that didn't play, they actually shortened as well, because that goes without saying. The market has just moved a bit dramatically. So Gerwyn price is now 11-4 favoured from 4-1 after his win tonight. And then we have Dave Chisnall, big enough mover, 14-1 from 33-1. We have Luke Humphries, 25-1 from 40-1. We have Mervyn King. Mervyn King is 28-1 from 100-1. We have Ross Smith, 40-1 from 125-1. James Wade is 12-1 from 28-1. And then Stephen Bunting, before his match tonight, he was actually backed into 66-1 from 125-1. And then he went on to win, obviously. So now he's cut further into 33-1. So look, all them winners tonight, fairly dramatic movement in the outright. And then we have the likes of Michael Van Gerwen, 9-2 from 5-1, Peter Wright 5-1, 6-1, and Jose de Souza, who I just love. I hope he wins it, I really do. He's 10-1 from 12. Everyone loves Jose, don't they? Like, I've fallen in love with him ever since he won the Grand Slam last year. He's just such a lovely guy. I'm buzzing for his match now tomorrow night.
More movers than a 1980s nightclub there. They're all over the place. It's been a Saturday night fever. We're going for it. We're going for it.
I have this, I don't know if you can see the practice dart boards over there, but this is where I am tonight. Anyway, it's nice and quiet in here. So, yeah, plenty of movers, and look, excellent matches tonight, but more excellent matches to look forward to tomorrow. Go through some of the prices of the matches tomorrow with you if you like.
Yeah, that was my next question anyway, so you're way ahead of the ball.
Honest to God, yeah, I knew it was coming, you know, but yeah, look, we have obviously Vincent van der Voort is 6-5, Gabriel Clemens is 4-6, and then from the top, the Darius is 8-5, and Brendan Dolan is 1-2. We have Callan at 2-1. We have Johnny Clayton at 4-11. We have Nathan Aspinall at 4-5. We have Ratajkowski at evens. Gary Anderson is 4-9. Ian Wright is 7-4. Peter Wright is 1-3. Bob Cross 9-4. Michael Van Gerwen is, of course, a very short 2-9 against Albert, who's 100-30. And Jose de Souza, who I've been just talking about there, is, I think this is crazy, right? But he's 1-7, and Glenn Durrant is 9-2. Like, I think that's crazy pricing.
Yeah, I suppose that represents the rise of Jose and the slight fall of Glenn since the Premier League victory that he managed to pick up. That's tomorrow then, so I guess there's one more question before we let you get back to whatever else you need to do this evening. Dream final, is it still Price versus Michael Van Gerwen? Is that still what you guys want to see?
I suppose, yeah. Like, obviously, look, we have a couple of losers in the outright book, and you always want to see an outsider win, don't you? But really, I think the way things are going and the fans coming back, people want to see these top players. They want to see these guys take each other on again. So, look, we have a name, the finalists, Mark, and I can actually pop it up here in front of me. So, who have we got? So, Gerwyn Price, Michael Van Gerwen final is 9-1, lads. That's a terrific price, really, when you think of it. Like, so
very, very tempting, considering the recent return to former Michael Van Gerwen and the way that those two played against each other at the Euro Tour recently as well. I think that's it from you this evening then, Sarah. We're going to let you get back on with whatever else you need to do backstage at the Morningside, but we'll see you tomorrow evening. Thank you very much for hopping on, and we will speak to you tomorrow night.
No problem. Thanks very much, lads.
Cheers.
Sarah from BoyleSports then there. With that, boys, I guess all that's left to do now, well, I say all that's left to do, we've got 8 games to review and 8 games to look forward to tomorrow, so the bulk of the show is still to come. And considering where the biggest story of the night came from, I think now is a pretty good time to work in reverse order this evening. So we're going to start from game number 8. Why is it the minute I look at a comment from a chat room, it's tugboat as well? Don't dare put that one up. No. Happily taken man, me. Thank you very much. We'll have words on Facebook. Don't forget to get your interactions into the chat room as well. We'll try and pop some of them up on the screen, especially as we're going in between each game. If you've got any thoughts, feelings, or any dying, burning questions you want from us three, don't forget to pop them up on the screen, and we will respond to them, and everybody else can take a look at what you're saying as well. So, game number 8 of the night is where we're going to start, Lee Boyce, and the only seed of the night to fall. Dimitri van den Berg's recent struggles continue as Ryan Searle beats him 2-1.
Yeah, what just an all-round game. It was so good. I was part of me was hoping for a 2-0 and it to be wrapped up in 6 lead, so we did that the fallout bar started a little bit earlier.
We're just that desperate to the theme tune, aren't we?
Yeah. However, we did see some class starts. It was 11-12 to start in set 1. A lead from each, and then obviously the 150 finish. So, and then correct me if I'm wrong, but I think set 3 also started with an 11 and a 12, one from each player. So the quality was there. There was obviously sprinkles of frustration from Dimmy, and then the ending. The missed start by Dimmy at the end. I had the end line ready. So I've done the roundup for us tonight as well. I had the headline ready as the Dimmy special comeback was there for me, but unfortunately the double 16 just didn't prevail for himself. But well done, Ryan Searle. Very good performance, and then that top sitting is going to be a danger for everyone else in his side of the draw, because I think once he starts on them tops, he dropped off a little bit, a couple of leads in the second set, but overall the top sitting was very good.
Yeah, completely agree. Charlie, we're going to move you on to the next game. Normally we'd give you both opinions on both. We'll do that later in the week because we have so many games to talk about and people have to get to bed. It's 11:20 already. So game number 2 that we'll talk about in reverse order is obviously what could have been the tie of the night. Everybody was picking this one out way before it got started. Bit of a non-starter really in that regard, because Gerwyn Price was bloody impressive tonight. 100 average from the defending champion. Superb from him, wasn't it?
Yeah, you mentioned there he was really impressive, and I think that was probably just what he wanted for the first game. It's a shame that Michael Smith couldn't, match that, the intensity from Price. But I think when Price is on his game like he was tonight, it's hard to beat him. So, he'll be probably sat back in his hotel room now, absolutely delighted that he's got through. And, he's now, as we heard earlier, he's the favourite. So, on a performance like that, you'd be expecting him to go, some sort of 3/4 or if not all of the way in the tournament.
Yeah, and Bully Boy, look, it's difficult to play against 100 average, especially in the double-in format. If I did a 1-2-6 in the first leg, were you thinking, maybe here we go? He just looked like he didn't deserve that first leg, to be honest, did he? So once he's stolen it, was that the moment you thought, maybe this is going to happen?
Yeah, I think with Price, once it starts clicking, it's very, very hard to stop him from taking on that momentum. So when I saw, sort of the start of the game, I was thinking, maybe are we going to see an upset? Are we going to see Price, really be pushed to the wire? But it wasn't meant to be. And as I say, once the juggernaut of Price continues and keeps going, it's very hard to sort of put him off. And as you mentioned, 100 average there, it's he wasn't going to get beaten tonight.
Yeah, definitely not. He might not get beaten at all in this tournament if he produces that again. Third game to talk about, game number 6 of the evening. Lee, I've come to you because I know how much I love this man, so you must love him equally. James Wade beats Damon Heta 2-1 in a game of, well, the line I used on social media was, you miss, I hit. It wasn't the best performance from James Wade. Damon Heta afforded himself chances, but every time he didn't take those chances, James Wade was right there to slam the door in his face, wasn't he?
Yeah, it's a bit boring with a James Wade win sometimes that we keep saying wading. It's wading all the time from Wade, but exactly what it was, especially in that first set. Heta missed 2 to win it 3-1, then missed 2 to win it in the last leg. So there's plenty of opportunities there from Heta. And at that point, to be honest, I thought Wade was then going to push on. But actually, it pushed Heta on a little bit. And we obviously saw that they'll to 1 apiece. But it was just James Wade doing James Wade things. It was a typical James Wade win. And I know we've spoke about a similar player to Wade before in like Duzza. I think Heta's very similar as well. But overall, he's going to be disappointed, Damon Heta, with not winning that game with the opportunities he had. But for his first time in the Grand Prix, it's not a nightmare for him. He overall, he's had a good year. He's had a difficult couple of months. There was just chances there, but Wade always punishes those. That's what James Wade does, and what a way to finish. 2-1, 2-1 checkouts, one of which on the ball, and it being the winning one on the ball, so fair play. And I did fancy Heta to have a goal. He's on 130, I believe. I did fancy Heta to have at least have a go at the ball on that. No. But it's James Wade. James Wade doing James Wade things, isn't he?
And do you know, the comparison between those two is one that I've made quite frequently recently, which is why it was probably more surprising that Heta missed so many opportunities, because his 180 hitting is better than James Wade's, but I don't think his scoring is as consistent. But his doubling is what won him the World Series event he won when he beat James Wade in the first round, by the way. Massive throwback to that. And I just thought they'd be a bit closer. Comment on the screen. We'll talk about this one. James Wade, the most complicated man in darts. Amount of games he loses from a strong position or wins with his back against the wall is frightening. Will his talent ever get the trophy haul it deserves?
It's a very impressive trophy haul.
I would not say no to his trophy cabinet. I think the main point of the question is, does he and should he have won a world championship by now? And will he ever get one?
And I think too that he probably should have been not just World Championship. His trophy haul is very impressive, but I would probably say it should be more impressive.
Yeah.
I don't want to knock what he's done because what he's done is unbelievable. He should have a world champion. He should be a world champion. He should also have more in that trophy cabinet. However, it's pretty impressive what he's achieved and what he's still down to achieve. He's not someone who we're talking about who's dropped his games on down or anything like that. He's going to win more. And that might be this week because we have these sort of first round games where someone sort of edges through and don't really deserve to, I guess, and then goes on and pushes in. It's an interesting tie in round 2 for him, which you'll fancy.
Yeah, for a two-time world champion, his recent record in this event is not very good at all, but he is over the line. On to the next game. Dave Chisnall, Mensur Suljovic. Charlie, Dave Chisnall has made a name for himself getting out of the first round. He's been very, very good at this event for a player that all the criticism is always about how his action breaks down under pressure a little bit. His starting double is one of the most successful in this tournament over people that have played as many times as he has. Started very brightly. Mensur hits back at 1 apiece. All the momentum's with him, but it's Dave Chisnall that gets through the first round again.
Yeah, I think it's such a unique tournament, isn't it, when you're starting on that double, and that'll probably will take him a long way in the tournament because he's so successful on getting himself underway. But I think he came up against Mensur Suljovic, the World 28. It just wasn't, the average from Mensur was nowhere near what it needed to be to really challenge Chizzy, and I think the 92 in the second set, I think it was, when Mensur levelled the game, that was, it was impressive from him. But apart from that, Chizzy didn't really have to sort of get into another gear. And he just got the job done with, only 2 180s in the whole game. I think we've become quite accustomed to seeing Chizzy put the 180s in quite a lot. So for him to just get the job done, the starting double's going well for him. He'll be a pretty pleased man in the hotel this evening.
Yeah, Mensur, a bit of a resurgence of late since the World Cup. Obviously didn't quite get Evlan here, but it's just good to see him back on TV playing darts again, isn't it? Because he's a big threat when he turns up and plays well. He's Champions League winner, took Austria to the final of the World Cup of Darts. He's a very, very talented player when he wants to. And he's a player that possibly hasn't got the longest amount of time left on tour, so we want to see him make the most of it whilst he can.
Yeah, definitely. I'm a big fan of Mensur. I think the way he goes about his game is very, he just gets on with the business. He does the business. I think the World Cup run will probably have reignited that spark that he's probably been missing over the last couple of months. So, hopefully we'll see him, sort of pick up a bit of form now towards the World Championships. But he's always a threat. You can never second guess Mensur and count him out of any game.
Yeah,
Dob, just one point. Well, one question really for you on this one. I want to sort of flip it around. The first set that Chizzy wins,
3-0.
Mensur plays the whole set down for double 16 at the start of this for the start of every leg. Thoughts, considering he's probably, when we've spoke before about if you could have one player on any double for your life, he's got to be in the top probably 5 and Mensur double 14. So why would you have a double start event and then him go to double 16?
The only thing I could think of is if he's playing someone that starts on tops like Chizzy does, he's given up 12 points to visit on an attempt, and he just sees that as too much. I suppose it's not massive. I think he did that last year as well, and it didn't work very well. And it didn't work very well to start this time. So he swapped back to Old Faithful, and he got back in the game. I think maybe it's the adjustment. Maybe he fancies the 32 to 57. You see Damon Heta using that route a lot. A lot of players won't switch all the way back up. I'm not sure. I genuinely don't know. I don't know why that would have gone through his head. Only Mensur knows, really, and he's always going to be a bit of an enigma, isn't he?
Yeah, it's just very strange to see. And I think the first leg he won, he could have left double 16, but left double 14 and took it out first start. And you're thinking, well, I understand the 12-point theory, but however, if you're missing double 16 that often,
you're missing out. You're scoring no points. You're even further behind. Yeah,
it seemed a bit weird.
Yeah, I suppose the main point of that starting double is just get in. The only time I'd ever really recommend a swap is if you're 6-9 darts behind. You have to go back to tops. I'm sorry, you have to go back to tops and pray that you can fire at a 160, just try and get back in the leg. Anything else is a little bit irrelevant. So on to the next one. I can't Lee, back to you. That's how it goes. And you've got another upset. You've got them both tonight, I think. I won the game of I Spy because nobody else posted it first. So thanks for coming, boys, because Ross Smudger Smith had one of these on his chest. But he also had a 2-0 victory over Joe Cullen. And there's quite a big gap between these two tonight, Lee.
Yeah, there was quite a big gap. We're in for signs for Joe Cullen. I'm gutted that I've got this down that you've come to me on this one, because if you remember on Monday, our picks for the final, mine was Michael van Derven to beat Joe Cullen in the final, yeah.
Oh, I forgot about that. But this is brilliant. Carry on. Tell us about how you've got yet another prediction wrongly, boys.
Yeah, so I predicted that as well as Derwyn Price to be knocked out first round. Going well for me, going really well.
You weren't the only one with a Gerwyn Price call, to be fair. There were lots of calls for Michael Smith today, but he was bloody impressive, as we've already said. Yeah,
and I think as Price was very impressive, but credit where credit due, Ross Smith today was very good. Averaging 91 at a double start is a very good average. He punished Joe Cullen throughout. We're going to be slightly biased towards Ross Smith, as you said, because we're going to see online data then on TV on Tuesday. I'll try and beat you to Twitter on Tuesday when it's back on there. It's fine. But yeah, overall, on a serious note, Ross Smith, he's a very, very good performance. He's going to light the draw he's got. Obviously, I know he's in the same quarter as Derwyn Price, but the draw he's not there when you're looking at it. He's going to fancy himself against Chizzy. It's a difficult game. We know how good Chizzy seems to do at the World Grand Prix, even though it goes completely against his game normally, with not being great at doubles. But a very, very solid performance, Ross Smith. Slight concerns about Joe Cullen. Obviously not in ranking or anything in positions, but he just didn't look quite at it tonight.
Talking of fancying yourself, like you said about 6 sentences ago, our producer, ladies and gentlemen, tonight is Charlie Featon in the background. He just flashed up his own comment. And he doesn't deserve to be on screen either. Absolutely no chance, Tugboat. Jar is definitely far more annoying than I am. That's why I'm the god. 3 games to go, and this one possibly could have gone either way, but for the start of the evening, for the first 4 games, boys, it was pretty much one-way traffic. It was 2-0, 2-0, 2-0, 2-0. Easy to say that 4 times fast. Stephen Bunting, in incredibly impressive fashion, almost hitting the ton average himself, dismantling Daryl Gurney, Charlie.
Yeah, I mean, it was really impressive from Stephen. They're both 16th and 17th in the world. So, it's a game that I was really looking forward to prior to the event getting underway. And Daryl Gurney will be disappointed, 1 from 10 in the first set. But, the second set is when he's going to be looking now to pick up the momentum and take that, obviously win it and then take it in. But when Stephen Bunting comes out with 106 average to then take the second set to win the game, you've just got to hold your hands up and say, do you know what, I've been beaten by the better man. So Stephen was really impressive, and I'm really looking forward to seeing his match against James Wade, because that one, I couldn't really call that at the moment. If Stephen puts in a performance like that, we could be going all the way.
I think I missed this at the time. Was that a 10-dart leg to win the match in a double start format? That's mightily impressive from Stephen Bunting, who, look, he had a run at the match play a couple of years back. He seems to go through phases, doesn't he? He's not the most consistent player in the world. He won on his debut on the Pro Tour when he first moved over from the BDO, been a bit up and down, obviously had an appearance in the Premier League, etc. Went deep at the match play a couple of years back, made the semi-final. He's capable of putting a run in, especially if he plays like that. Yeah,
definitely. And, look to sort of keep Daryl Gurney down and beat him 2-0. I think the Irishman will be absolutely gutted with that, because he'd have fancied his chances against Stephen Bunting, but you know what you're going to get if Stephen turns up on the night. He's very hard to beat, and he's another one to throw into the hat of potentially pushing all the way and potentially causing some upsets as the tournament progresses.
Completely agree. Lee, I said you've had both the upsets already. This one possibly could be classed as an upset, considering that the player that lost is a former finalist of this event. But given the year that Luke Humphries is having, maybe it's not so much of an upset.
Yeah, it was one that we was talking about the other day, and I know there's probably about 14, 15 games that we're saying in this first round that were quite close and it was hard to call, and this was going to be one of them. And it was all on dirt for me, because we've seen a standard from Luke Humphries, and he seems to be able to hit that standard quite often now. The consistency's coming. With dirt, we're just not seeing that at the moment. And it can always turn up. It can always put in performances that he gave Luke way too much time in a lot of leads. He's starting doubles. I'm not sure on what his percentage was, but he wasn't great at start of leads, giving him plenty of opportunities. And he's one we're going to look at, because as we come into the back end of the year, there's so many tournaments. But at the moment, his performances and his early exits in these tournaments are a real concern for someone who, after his run he had in lockdown, is someone who's all expecting to push on to better things. With the crowd returning, the big walk on, and all that sort of thing that we do. And I don't think we've seen that. We've seen quite the opposite, which is not the only player we've spoke about with that. But with Dirt, we've seen a bit of a slide down. Luke Humphries is one we're going to be watching for many, many years. It's only, I don't want to say it's only a matter of time before he wins one, because there's that sort of pressure that we can put on like we have done with Mark Smith. But I think if you look at the next 12 months from here on in, there's going to be at least a final I would expect on TV, at least a number of semi-finals. He's going to be there or thereabouts. It's just, can he then make that step up and win one? But he's going to be in the latter stage of these tournaments without a doubt.
Yeah, quick word on Van Duijvenbode, although I suspect we might talk about him on the next live lounge in a couple of weeks' time, by the time we actually get back to it next Monday when we review the final as well. It's not the first time we've seen him have this sort of dip. He was a development tour player, was playing okay, didn't really show up for a while, went to Q School to get his card back, has had a mega 18 months, and now struggling as a dippers a little bit. If you're going to be a top player, you can't really go in those cycles, can you? You've got to find a way to just stay at a level with a B or a C game when the things aren't quite going your way. Yeah,
and there's the sort of turning points that you're looking for, and things that. And the one thing I looked at was the World Cup, and I thought that would be something that pushes him on, not just him, but for Michael as well at the time. And we didn't have it there. We didn't have those performances. We haven't seen them since. And I'm not quite sure when we will see him. He's got too much quality, surely, to just drop off and continue to perform how he is at the moment. But it is times where, like I said, there's that many opportunities with tournaments we've got coming up, but we need to see him produce what he did produce to get to the final last year.
Agree. Let's talk about the last game then before we look ahead to tomorrow. Mervyn King, no surprises there. Charlie, double 16 is the way to go for Merv, and he gets a job done 2-0 against Martin Clearmaker.
Yeah, not the greatest of games to start off, to be honest. The quality wasn't there, but I think both players will probably feel like the result was deserved. Mervyn, his reaction after the game probably says everything that we needed to know about the game, really. I think he had a bit of a chuckle after against Martin Clearmaker, and he had some chances as well. So, the game could have gone in a different way. He missed plenty of doubles. I think he took 3 out of 21 doubles that he threw out. So there was chances there to potentially affect the result. But as you say, Merv's just what you see is what you get with Merv, and he won't change ever. And his success rate on that double is up there in the top % in the whole of the darts world.
Yeah, Lee, I'll throw it to you quickly because you saw what I put on Twitter the other week about if you had one player in the world right now at any double segment to save your life. There was a couple of comments from Mervyn King on double 16. His success rate tonight on double 20 when he needed it was far better than that of double 16. It's something that we've seen add to his game. Do you think he might possibly move away from it in the next round?
Not a chance. Not a chance.
You've got to ask the question, haven't you?
Yeah, I was going to say, I've followed Mervyn King for a while. I think you followed him even longer. I know you're a big fan, but do you honestly believe he's going to change from that 16? And
of course I don't. Be like James Wade suddenly throwing at double 16, mate. It's just not going to happen. But
yeah, it's a great backup to have, and probably the flip of that is like it says, we're talking about players who, if they had one dart at a double and they had to pick the double, Mervyn would be in that mix. So would Gerwyn Price be on tops, 10 on 16s, and it sets up a great opportunity, a great game, on Tuesday with those two, because we saw tonight when Smith fired in a 160 and Price then missed 3. I think there was another time where Smith fired in a big store and then Price luckily, I think, deflected in with the third one. So it'd be interesting that on Tuesday, because there's not many times that Mervyn's not going to hit a double within his first 3. And if he can then find a big store, that's when we'll see the pressure and how good Price is playing at the moment to see if he can handle that pressure. I'm not going to say that he'll get knocked out then, because I'm not going to play the stupid one twice this week. But it's going to be interesting to see that. But to answer your question, no, he's not going to switch.
Thanks for the really long answer to Willie Soffit's double. Cameras at the ready for that one as well, because they do meet in the next round, and that is just going to be facial expression gurning heaven in that match. Let's talk about tomorrow then, boys. We'll go in game order on the night. Just jump in for this one. We'll see how we can go. Game number 1, Darius Labanauskas, Brendan Dolan. Look, Brendan's got the pedigree in this one. He is the history maker, the first man to hit the 9-darter, and he is playing okay recently. But Darius Labanauskas' recent success on tops, we've seen it in a couple of events, especially the World Cup. Is he a big threat to Brendan Dolan tomorrow, boys?
I think he is. I think he's I think that's a great game to start off, actually, to be honest. It's a hard one to call. I think both players are going to be, they're evenly matched, aren't they? So the opportunities are there. But I think if Darius is as successful as we know he can be on tops, he could cause a real problem for Brendan Dolan tomorrow night.
Completely agree. Game number 2. This one, boys, I think this is a bit difficult to call purely because of how up and down these two have been. The favourite will obviously be Johnny Clayton. He's got the pedigree as the Masters and the Premier League champion. But after the performance we saw from Callum Ridds to beat Peter Wright at the European Tour last weekend, we know the ceiling game that Callum has. Over a short format, if he turns up, Johnny Clayton's got a game on his hands, hasn't he, Lee?
Yeah, he's definitely got a game on his hands. The one thing, a big strength of Clayton's is he's finishing down the left-hand side of the board, which to me made him a stronger favourite than if this was just in any other competition other than the Grand Prix. I think it gives Clayton a better opportunity. However, if Ridston performed the levels we saw across, not just the Peter Wright one, I can't remember the other win that he had the weekend with a 105, 106. And Peter Wright was 110 or something. There was 2 in there. But we've seen Ridds do it before, and to me, it wouldn't be a massive shock in beating Clayton. I'd just have Clayton. I think, like says, the tournament plays into his favour, and he didn't have a great weekend last weekend, but overall, Clayton's in good form. So I'd expect him to win, but I wouldn't be overly surprised if Ridds comes through it with a short format.
We'll move on to game number 3. While you're there, chat room, don't forget to get your predictions in for tomorrow night as well. Just fire them in the chat room. We'll pop them up once we've finished through all 8, like Craig has done. He's even corrected his spelling. Look, we don't even have to call him out on it. What a boy. Number 3. Let's hope George Noble's refereeing this one tomorrow, because there might not be a lot of room on the stage if it's anybody a little bit bigger. Vincent van der Voort and Gabriel Clemens, 2 absolute giants, take on each other in game number 3 tomorrow night. Charlie, how do you see this one going?
It's going to be another really good game. I'm really looking forward to the night as a whole. I think Gabriel Clemens will win the game, but I think it will be tight between the two. I mean, Clemens is off the back of beating Devon Peterson and beating Luke Humphries in the European Tour. So, he'll take a lot of confidence from that. But I think both of them are very hit and miss. I think Van der Voort is very hit and miss. And I think if they both kick on as we'd hope, I think we're in for another really, really good game.
Yeah, completely agree. Game number 4, Lee, we're coming to you on this one, and I'm pretty sure I saw somewhere that one of the best starters at hitting a double to get underway in this tournament, at least last year, if not the couple of recent years, and the players in the field, Nathan Aspinall takes on Christoph Ratajski, and I'm pretty sure Aspinall's name was right at the top. Ratajski's name was right at the bottom. He did not enjoy this event last year on the doubles. How'd you see this one going?
Well, this last Monday, this was my tip of game of round one, and I still think it will go that way. I'm expecting 13, 14 legs, 3 sets. I edge towards Aspinall and probably a little bit more now you've just told me that stat. I think Aspinall's due a good run at one of these, and I think it's going to come this week. But it can be a toss of a time because of the inconsistencies we've seen at times from Aspinall, and it seems like the inconsistencies we always see from Rataj today. That I'm not sure if he's going to throw an 80 average in this one, or if he wins this one with an 105, it's an 80 average in the next one or something. Because that's pretty much that's what he's been doing the majority of the time. Edge towards Aspinall, but yeah, for me, this is the game of the night for me. Or it has the potential to be, I should say. It has the potential to be if both can play head-to-hander.
Anastasios likes ask for this quarter, as a couple of others might do. But to quote myself on Twitter recently, that didn't go down very well with our producer, Christoph Ratajski's a little bit of a different animal on TV recently. So maybe we'll see something a little bit special from the Polish Eagle. Game number 5, boys, and he just wants to play darts. Gary Anderson is back on stage against Ian White. Ian White, fresh from his recent surgery. Gary Anderson has promised us he's been practicing. Didn't hear much from Ryan Searle afterwards because we've been so busy. I didn't hear if he let the cat out of the bag, if they've actually got together like they've been threatening. But Gary Anderson is back at the Grand Prix, Charlie, and I think he's a pretty good favourite for this one.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if he was to be beaten, but I expect him to get the job done. You mentioned there Ian White off the back of a surgery, so maybe that's hampered his opportunities to practice as much as he'd liked. But Gary Anderson, again, it'll just be all enjoyment for Gary. He'll be just wanting to go out on the stage, enjoy it, and I expect him to get the job done pretty easily, pretty comfortably against Ian White. And this is an opportunity now for Gary to sort of just silently go about his business in the tournament, because no one's really talking about him. But I expect him to get the job done tomorrow night.
Yeah, completely agree. On to the next one, and Lee, this one, you're getting all the tasty little clashes for this as well. Next up is the World Cup champion Peter Wright with his partner John Henderson, obviously isn't in this event, against Rob Cross. Oh my God, as if this is a first round game given the two's recent success. But surely, the only question to ask here is, what darts is Snakebite going to turn up with?
I don't think it's the only question. We've spoke earlier about people and their chosen doubles. I'm not 100% certain where Cross will go, if they'll go 18s or 16s.
I'm not sure where either of them start, to be honest.
You're probably right there, because we're not sure what equipment he's going to use, never mind where he's going to be aiming to put that equipment. For me, this one's all on Rob Cross, because Peter Wright does that standard, tends to be that consistent standard when it comes to these big events. I nearly said major then. These big TV events. There is that standard that we seem to see with Peter Wright. It is all on Rob Cross. Then if Rob Cross turns up, this has to be the highlight of round one if we see the performance from both. Good point, producer Jar. What's a major? But for me, it's Right Cross has that potential, because why is it a round one tie? And it's only because of the drop off of Rob Cross recently. If Rob Cross then performs, trying to distract me here. I edge towards Peter Wright, and I think anyone who goes to Cross, it's more on their heart than the head at the moment. But it's the doubles for Cross. Peter Wright's going to be 16s, I would assume, and we know his 16 hitting is very good. Rob Cross is how he starts and where he starts, and the worry is if he does 18s or 20s, if he doesn't find it in the first 3 or he doesn't find it then in the second leg, is he going to be moving around the board? Whereas Peter Wright, I think he will be fairly consistent on there. So I expect Peter Wright to win there. I expect him to win convincingly.
Really? It took all of that to say he's going to win convincingly. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
You're killing it tonight.
I'm sitting on the fence a little bit with it now. Does if it comes back tomorrow, he goes all the way, I'll do. Yeah, I did say Cross turns up, so I'm sitting on the fence a little bit with it. However, if I had to, I'd say Peter Wright probably wins it like 6-1 in Leeds and 2-0. So
we got there in the end. Charlie, last game for you to talk about tonight. It's one with a head-to-head that favours one of the two players absolutely massively, despite being in a couple of very, very good positions. Danny Noppert's head-to-head against Michael van Gerwen just isn't very good. We saw that most recently at the Euro Tour. Probably should have got over the line, Danny. Let that one slip after averaging 104 for a large part of that game. Do you see Noppert putting any pressure on MVG for this one?
No, I think MVG gets the job done. I think he'll have been watching tonight and he'll have seen Gerwyn Price get through, and he'll want to make a statement to everyone, you know, that he's still here, that the form is in some of his best form at the moment, MVG. So I expect him to push aside Danny Noppert. It may have thrills and spills. We don't know. Sometimes MVG gets himself into these holes that he struggles, but sometimes he gets out of. So I expect him to get the job done. It'll be comfortable. And I hope that he comes out with a strong average and a good percentage on the doubles, just so that he can send out that statement of intent, you know, ahead of the sort of the later stages of the tournament.
Perfect. Bang on. And as we said to Sarah earlier, the dream final for most MVG prices on the cards. They are in separate halves of the draw. Last game for you, Lee. We've given you all the close ones. We've given you all the contentious ones. Now we're giving you what, on recent form, should be the most clear-cut game of the week, of the opening round, perhaps. When the draw come out, we said that literally nobody was safe, apart from maybe Jose de Souza. But Glenn's been in the media this week saying that he's just waiting for that form to return. And if it does click for Glenn, he is a threat. He loves double 16. This could be the event that reignites it, because if a player starts struggling to get in as well, his problem is he's been so far behind the legs. If a player starts struggling to get in as well, levels the playing field a little bit for Glenn to take advantage. Yeah,
I think it's hard to go on the side of Glenn in regards to winning this one against Jose. I'm going to do him to that set though. I think Jose wins 2-1. I think there's enough in there from Glenn to do, but I'm going to go against PB. I'm sure he's not listening at the moment, but against Jose doesn't win scrappy games. This one will be a bit of a scrap, and Jose will thump through and win it 2-1.
Scott Mitchell subscribes to the same school of thought as well, bless him, but he's an Arsenal fan, so what does he know? And a Scott. It's not looking good for him. Perfect. That's tomorrow all previewed then, boys. Not sure who's on tomorrow night with me, but a couple more things to just let everybody in the chat room know before we do end the show for this evening. Fantastic for everybody joining us in the chat room. Thank you very much, one and all. Those of you that have seen the fallout before will know that usually we'll drop some interview clips from this evening in our review bit, the one when we're talking about everything that's happened tonight. Obviously, because there's 8 games, 16 games for us to talk about tonight, 8 to review, 8 to preview. Similar tomorrow, it'll be 8 to review, 4 to preview. Probably not going to play clips for the first 2 nights, but after that, we're going to fire them out for you for the rest of the week. If you do want to hear any interviews from any of the players, you're on YouTube right now. You know where to stay. Straight on our channel, head over there, and you'll be able to find interviews from all 8 of tonight's winners. There's still a couple more to go out tonight, but they will be up there ready for you. Tomorrow morning, the live league is back on our YouTube channel as well, just after 10 a.m. You can catch that through until about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I think it normally runs to, just in case you need any more darts. And then obviously tomorrow night, day 2 of the BoyleSports World Grand Prix is back from 6 p.m. at the Morningside in Leicester. And we'll be back here as soon as play finishes to give you the same roundup as we always do. Big, massive thank you to all of our sponsors that made this happen, to BoyleSports in particular, as they are our biggest partners for this week. They're making everything happen for us, as obviously Sarah appearing earlier. So thank you very much, everybody, for watching. Thank you very much, Lee and Charlie, for joining me tonight. You boys have absolutely smashed it. Thank you to Jar in the background. I've got to say thank you to him, or I'll start crying. I've seen his face, it'll light up. YouTube can't see him, but I can see him in the background watching the American football, the miserable old so-and-so. No live lounge tomorrow, obviously, because there is live darts on, and then we will be here with a Fallout bar, but we'll be back with that next Monday. So you've got a plethora of darting action to pick from tomorrow anyway. And don't forget to keep your eyes on our social media over the week. They're scrolling across over the bottom, and head over to our website for any previews, reviews, and even the best odds from BoyleSports guaranteed. Thank you very much for watching, everybody, tonight, and we will speak to you tomorrow.
BoyleSports World Grand Prix on Sky Sports.